Carl Fincher,
Here.
Laura Mattice, Robert Proudman,
Here.
Kelly Smith.
Here.
You have to mute your speaker, I think.
Yeah, it's too close.
No, you have to mute that one. I think you have to mute that one.
Maybe I'll try that.
You're just hearing
If it
it.
doesn't work, I'll blame you.
No, it's just going all, it's looping through.
All right, thank you.
The computer, not the program. The speakers, you know.
They're making an echo.
Harry Sutton is here, Rich Irving, Marie Stuber, Diane Williams. Here. William Amen.
Here.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Risen to the floor. I see we have a different view here today. I guess Tom sent you?
No, I came on behalf of myself.
Oh, well, all right.
But you did request privilege of the floor.
Okay. But we'll do it in the order that people.
Sure, that's fine.
There's no problem. John, you're next.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. This issue that I'm going to talk about came up as a result of all the turmoil, the resignations, and the problems that we were experiencing on the highway department. And having served on the town board back in the 80s, I said to myself, it's amazing how things never seem to change. We struggle with finding CDL drivers and people, and it's not just when you're driving a truck. When you're snow plowing, you have to have somebody that knows what they're doing. It's not an easy job. But anyway, given the current situation, I thought it's an opportunity that gives us a chance to look at options, if you will. Are there alternatives to our highway department? So, my request would be just to officially ask that the town board and the supervisor look into the possibility of alternative methods that may be more consistent and, you don't have to worry about is the crew going to be there, the same thing. So, again, I know there was a time when the state was giving incentives for towns that would look at consolidating services. I don't know, that's still out there, but I said, I just want to go officially on the record to say this would be an opportunity to at least explore that possibility. That's my request.
Okay. Thank you, John. Oh, okay. There was a time, not very long ago, very recent, where we did have some significant concerns. And like you said, or I'll say it's, that can change rapidly in either direction. So what I think is a good idea, and you've asked us to take a look at it. We don't have an immediate problem right now that can change in the drop of a hat. I will research what our options are and report back to the board and of course any of our citizens that are interested.
I don't know if it would work, but at least I thought it'd be an opportunity to take a look at it. Is there something that would be more secure and
Steady?
sorry.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but I actually came because I want to talk on the same topic, if I may.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, should I stand?
Yeah, why don't you go near there so the speakers don't pick you up. But then, let me
So I just want to second
can I
what
just
you
interrupt
said.
you for
Actually,
one
oh,
moment?
yes, sir.
I want to make sure we got this. This is all new for me.
Okay.
I was talking on this and it's still, so I'm going to put the mic back on the computer. Shut the phone off.
My name is Amy Wilson.
No?
No, the speakers were causing feedback. It's not that the mic was on. You had a mic and a speaker on the same thing, so you were getting a
But I muted this like you told me
Yeah.
to.
As long as you muted the speakers muted makes it so it doesn't echo to you and go back in and
Okay.
reverb. But two mics near each other causes a proximity effect.
I understand that, but this is muted. This is also muted.
Yeah, you shouldn't need to worry about that.
Okay. Thank your word for it. Go ahead.
It's
Thank
only
you.
speakers.
No, I said thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I am so sorry. Want to get this straight. Technical difficulties. Operator,
I'm used to that, yeah.
Okay.
I've been doing Zoom for a while now. So, yeah, I just want to say, I'd like to second what Mr. Rito said. Nice to meet you. And I'd just like to say, I've lived here for a year now, and I'm extremely happy to be here in Conesville. It's been delightful. I'm very grateful to the Highway Department for especially your recent help. When I had an emergency in my home, I called, he immediately answered, and he got on and immediately sent some people out. So I just want to say it's been wonderful living here, but I am very concerned about the highway department and the roads. It's just, we're in a very difficult area, you know, for maintenance. I grew up in a place with, I grew up in a dirt road myself. And every year, now our dirt road happened to go down to Road Beach State Park, so they maintained it very, very well. But every year in spring, we had gravel put down. It was whatever you call that, repaved every single year. So when I moved here last year, I was having a hard time getting trucks up Davis Road, which to me doesn't really seem like much of a hill, but the trucks couldn't make it up. And I figured, well, you know, I don't see anything that's going to happen this summer. They're going to put some stone down, be all better, you know. Except that it never happened. And now, the other day I was driving down my road, not going very fast, and my car starts losing control because the ruts are grabbing my tires. And I don't have a little car. I mean, I have a reasonable car for this area, but I'm having a hard time, and I just want to make sure that, you know what, in a town like this, I'm just thinking, most of our money seems it should go to the highway department. It just seems like that's the primary concern.
about 60%.
Yeah, so, you know, let's just really take good care of these roads and whatever we need to do to get them so that they're easily maintained through any transition we have and gentle on all of our vehicles. That's it. Okay, thank you.
This is our highway superintendent.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to say anything or add to that? Put you on the spot?
No, I think, like every spring, we have a road improvement program, and we're gonna pursue that vigorously this spring. Of course, we have the CHIP program, we have only so much money, and Davis Road and Leroy Road are pretty high on the list. I will definitely tell you that. So, no different than my road, Bluebird Road, which is also a dirt road.
Yeah.
So we're going to do our best. That's all I can say. We'll do our best with the resources that we have available to us. Thank you.
Anybody else? I know Heidi has.
So I'd like to know what's the current status of our employees? How many do we have right now at this moment in time, and what are the openings?
Talking about highway?
Yeah, highway. Oh yeah, this is the obvious hot topic.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of falsehoods out there, but let me tell you where we are right now.
Yep.
We have 3 full-time employees. We have an opening for a full-time employee.
I'm sorry, what?
We have an opening for one full-time
one
employee.
full-time
And we have
opening.
somebody that's expressed an interest that we're going to consider. Hopefully that will be filled soon. When we are not at full capacity, like we are right now, we do utilize part-time employees who are, which I like to say, on the bench, or what we call them. And that's what we have. We do have part-time employees, at least one anyway, that is available and is working now that we're down to 3 instead of 4.
So what happened to the minutes from last month where we were getting rid of the part-time employees?
That's not exactly accurate. We were
Okay.
not getting rid of the part-time employees. They are a part of what we need to get done, but they are part-time employees who are on call. Unfortunately, there were some people in town who thought we were laying them off. Nobody was laid off. The nature of their job is we call them when we need them. So I heard about some of the Facebook posts, and anybody can say anything they want on Facebook, but they're not doing it without the benefit of the facts.
I didn't
Okay.
think that we was laying them off.
No.
Which I commented.
We needed them. As a matter of fact, I think that they were gone for a week and we had to call, we called Gary back.
I worked there, I'm
Sure. Good guy, we don't want him. But the nature of the job is part-time.
Or per diem?
No, they work, when you say per diem, they get paid an hourly salary.
Or they're called in,
Yeah.
but they're called in per diem as we need them.
Oh, yeah, okay. I wasn't thinking.
That's what you're saying, right?
Right, they're per diem.
Okay.
You only hire them as you need them,
As needed, yeah.
Yes,
as needed.
and we need that cushion to fall back on if we're shorthanded.
Okay. And so I guess my concern kind of echoes Mrs. Wilson's here or John's, is that what's the long-term goal? Like, say I was reading in some of these reports from like December where there was only like one employee that was working one day, right? So what's the long term? Say we don't have, we're down several employees, some of these other Vermont, New Hampshire, rural communities, and they don't have any employees, or they're down to only one or two. Like, what's our long-term plan if we can't get employees? Do we subcontract, or how are we gonna get these roads maintained? Because you're talking Leroy and Davis Road, and I don't know if you've traveled the end of Wood Road recently, or Brander Buell Road, but the ruts are pretty deep come this weekend at 60 degrees. So what's long term if we can't get employees?
They are, well, I don't want to get into it now because I'd like to report back in greater detail from what John has asked, but there is the opportunity perhaps to have the county do it.
Okay.
Maybe go to a nearby town and combine. That's always a big battle, but it's not, it's an option. There is one town in Schoharie County that does employ the county to do all their roads. They have a highway super who keeps an eye on things, keeps the budget and all that. It's a part-time job, but they do that. It's possible. So that is an option, or contract it out. I'm not so sure that would be cheaper, but it might be more available. I don't know, and that's what I'm going to look at.
I just think we have to keep something in the back of our heads, because they're certainly not getting any better. These roads aren't.
Yeah, it's been a battle for us the last couple of years. So we are thinking about it and trying, that's how we've explored that, maybe having the county come and do it, maybe subcontracting out, but it's my personal feeling that subcontracting it out would be extremely expensive, and it's not really a feasible option for us.
Point of inquiry, what is that town?
Esperance.
Thank you.
We did this year tell the county that we prefer not to plow and treat their county roads like we were doing. So that freed up our people to focus more on the town roads, which was a big gain. We were getting compensated by the county for the county roads that we did take care of. I don't think it was enough. The wear and tear on the vehicles and the time that we were spending away from getting or taking care of the other roads.
What's the mileage that we have in our town that we're currently doing for plowing our roads?
I believe it's 36 or 37 miles.
And about 18 miles of dirt road.
No, that's included.
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's okay.
36
I was gonna
miles?
say 30.
Yeah, 38.
38 miles. And how much of the county roads were we doing?
I'm guessing on this right now because I don't have that in front of me, but I would say probably in the neighborhood of 10 to 15.
Okay. And do you know the number of cars, or I'm sorry that I don't know the proper term here, but the number of cars that went over the mountain, the mile marker cars, that maybe made the trip over top of the mountain.
I'm not sure what you mean by mile marker, I'm
You know,
sorry.
one was in front of Carl's house for a long time that counted the number of cars.
All the counters.
Oh,
Yeah, the
well,
counters.
the axle counters, they
Yeah.
count the axles that go over.
I haven't seen one going over the mountain.
And if it was the county would have that information, not the town. We didn't put them out.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious because I think that would give you a good idea of how much is on these roads, certainly that is traveled upon. You
I
know,
can ask
certainly
that.
there is a lot of traffic on these dirt roads that is going up the East Conesville Road, and also,
Durham Road.
yeah, well, and Wood Road is a big connection, Buell Road.
Yeah. I'll ask how many cars, what the latest info is on the number of cars, if the county has it. The state might have it too. It's not exactly the same, but some will come on, some will come off. But we can get an idea how many people are going through, you know, from Potter Hollow over to Gilboa, Route 30.
Both Durham and Potter Hollow is a large connection to people who work at the Power Authority, the dam, go to Stanford School. I mean, those are big travel roads, you know.
Durham is
so-
the most traveled town road, for sure. Nothing comes close. Town road.
I agree with John, though. If we don't start to look at alternatives, I think we're going to be in trouble. You know, the number of cones that are set up where culverts have started to fall through and then need to be replaced on these dirt roads is increasing, where the ground underneath has started to fall and then they need to go and replace that area by fill or whatever. I don't know technically how you do that, but
Almost every situation's a little bit different. Anything else, Heidi?
no, I think that this is a good idea. I think it gets more people involved for people who can't make it here. And hopefully we can, as John also alluded to, is that a better working relationship within the town might be a little bit more conducive to everybody involved.
Thank you. Anybody else? Moving along. We had the minutes from the February 14th and the February 24th special meeting. And you all have them. And the question is, do you want to make a motion to approve them?
I'll make the motion to approve them.
Carl seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Okay. And Maria's here. How are you doing, Marie? We're going to do the assessor's report.
Sorry I didn't get to you sooner. I planned last Tuesday when we had no power here to get it done. So I'll just kind of tell you what I wrote. It was exemption time during the month of February when everybody needed to return their exemptions, and this year, because the return of senior age exemptions was waived, they didn't have to return anything for that. Those were automatically renewed. But the exemptions for agricultural and forestry had to come in. They either had to be postmarked by March 1st or to my office by March 1st. This isn't the only town that this is occurring this year, but this occurs all the time in the towns that I work in, that people don't get the renewals back. In the middle of February, I've got to send out letters or start making phone calls. And I just want to let the town board know that next year there's going to be a letter. There always is a letter, but in the letter that I send out with the renewals, which are sent prior to January 1st, it's gonna state that it's their responsibility to get these back. And that if they don't get it back in time, they're gonna lose their exemption. Because I can do other things in the office besides chasing their savings on their taxes. So then the other thing is, I wanted to thank you, Rich Irwin has been doing a great job connecting with me, sending me all kinds of emails every time he has something, a CO or a new building permit, or even has a question. We've been in great contact, it's working out great. And then as the weather gets nicer, as last Tuesday I couldn't work in the office, I went out on road work. So I'll be going out. This year we'll be getting things reviewed in preparation for the already planned revaluation that's supposed to be done in 2023, the update of it. So I'll be doing that. And Bill and I, you and I already discussed, I was talking in here about the mileage reimbursement for that road work and just for that road work. So, and you already told me what the mileage rate was, the 58.5 is the max.
Right.
So those are the things I'm gonna be doing, I'll be working on that. Now that the summer's getting hot. Anybody got any questions?
I do. Now, my neighbor, the property next to me has been sold and rebought there in Manorkill, the old DeWitt farm. Now, I heard there was a problem. The previous had an ag exemption, and now the new owners wanted to get that same ag exemption, but they needed maps or something from
Soil and water.
Soil and water. Now, soil and water, I was told, is like months behind.
No.
They're not.
No. I
Okay.
had somebody, and it might be the same person, I think it was, Mr. Buell, I think, it might be the same property, I'm not sure.
Yep, it is.
Okay.
It
He
is.
got that all settled. The
Okay.
soil and water is not behind. There is a woman down there that I know personally, she just, within 2 days, she's got them too.
Okay.
She emails them
As
to
long as that all got squared away.
Yeah. I've not had any problem. I did have problems with some people returning some of the exemptions. And if those are people that I've contacted and they ignored me, they're losing their exemption this year. I mean, if they just didn't bother to pursue returning it, the renewal. That's their responsibility. I can't give it to them if they don't return. That's a requirement, state requirement. They have to return that and renew it.
Don't they have to get it notarized also?
Just the lease. If
Just
it's an
all
ag
the lease,
exemption,
okay.
just the lease. And the same thing with the forestry, they stopped the notarization on that forestry 2 years ago. So they just have to get a renewal form from forestry and turn that into me. So it's just the lease, and the lease is good for 5 years minimum. They can make the term longer, and that's the only thing that needs to be notarized.
For the forestry?
No, for the ag,
Okay.
for the agricultural exemption.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you, Marie.
You're welcome.
Need a motion to accept the assessor's report?
I'll make a motion.
Bob makes the motion.
Second.
Seconded by Kelly. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Carried. Code enforcement officer's report. What did he say? He closed on, helped his daughter close on his house today?
Yeah,
Her house. But did he leave a,
he did.
would you care to read it? Or is it not?
So he said that the area of his home office is all set up for the Conesville CEO responsibilities. He's been familiarizing himself with Conesville practices and procedures, going through files, separating open, expired, incomplete, and completed into folders. There's currently 32 open permits, 3 expired, 12 incomplete that are older than a year and need either a CCE or a CO or an inspection. He's been filing paperwork in the different SBL folders and working with Marie to bring improvements and everything up to date. Issued 1 building permit, 6 certificates of compliance, 4 permit renewals, 1 property search, 4 final inspections, 6 code inspections, 7 pre-work site visits, and a total of 239 miles.
Okay. Let me just add to that, he's setting up his home office. I'd like to get him his own laptop. But we get him through the county because they maintain them, including any security that needs to be on them. But it's going to be a long haul because of supply chain issues, chips, all that other stuff. Very difficult for us to get them, and the prices are going up dramatically.
Did we not have one for?
No, we had two, I sent them over to the county, and they're Windows 7, and they will not do Windows 7 because some of the,
Say no more.
okay, they're very vulnerable to hacking.
Say no more. I didn't realize what he had.
Oh,
Pretty sure he had
those
one,
are
but-
mine and yours that we gave up like a year and a half,
No,
2 years
didn't
ago.
Ron have one?
No,
Ron didn't have one that belonged to the town?
no,
Oh.
he used his own. So I'll talk to Rich and say, this is gonna be a while. I guess we can go to like a Best Buy or something, but I'd rather have the platform that they gave us through us, because they'll provide all IT services and any diagnostics that we would need.
Yeah,
That's the way to go.
that's wise.
Yeah. I mean, when they were doing it the other way, they were going out to town halls and look at stuff that, believe it or not, had XP on them and they still wanted. That's how old it is.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyway, I'll entertain a motion to accept the code enforcement officer's report.
So moved.
Kelly
I'll second
and Carl, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Town clerk.
Okay, so this month we've received 12 sewer payments so far, totaling $1,200. Building permit renewals, as Rich said, there were 4 of those, and 1 dog license so far this month.
Okay. Motion to accept the town clerk's report.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. That was easy. Town tax collector's report.
I have so far collected $1,443,025.87. February penalties were $943.19. There's still 219 unpaid tax bills.
Wow. Okay. Motion to accept the town tax collectors. Bob makes it.
Second.
Second by Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Sewer district operators report. One of these days we gotta get Travis here. He lives in Conesville.
This month, there was an average daily flow of 3,633 gallons a day. Generator transfer switch is not working. Kinsley Power is working on repairing the transfer switch. They said we'd have it mid-February. I have not seen
No.
anything updating it that has come in. Pump station 1 has had 2 pump failures due to what they thought was the grease buildup. Let's see. They found grease in the traps at 129 and 160. Potable water system work has been completed. There's still a brown tint to the water. Code enforcement, Rich completed an inspection over there. There was no fire extinguishers in the building. Exit signs to the plant are not working. Gaps in between the conduit. There we go. In the ceiling that needs to be filled in. There are trusses in the roof that need to be sticker affixed to the door, and Rich has requested to see a copy of the final inspection report for the electrical work. As always, if you have any questions, contact Travis.
Okay. Just as a matter of information, either April, I think May 1st, the portion of 990V where they did the work and the contractor, they're still obligated to restore that to the way it was or like new. And that should start in May if everything happens on time or on plan. DOT gave them they're supposed to do it by October, but it was getting late and everybody decided it was better to do that. Bull Hill Road will also be done, but by a different, they want to separate the two contracts. I don't know why, but.
One state, one county.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I don't know what the reasoning was why they didn't have one guy do it, but that's fine.
Yeah, some of those cuts are getting rough down there in West Conesville.
I know.
Quick question there, is the town responsible for the maintenance on this septic system there?
Well, it's the sewer district.
Or the sewer district?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So who, do we hire like Lamont, or who do you hire?
That was Travis Castle, who works for Lamont.
Okay, because somebody said that he also does Lexington or something?
Yes, he does several. It's not, you can't keep a person busy there.
No, I understand, but I just wondered if he, sorry,
And Ashland, I was just told. I knew that he had several of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't, I was wondering who had the responsibility. So
Okay.
it's our cost.
And he lives in town, which is nice. When the
Oh, yeah.
alarm goes off, he can
Oh,
jump
yeah,
out
no,
of bed.
no, I just was curious. I wanted to make sure that when you said Travis, I assumed that's who it was.
Yeah, we don't know how to run that. We probably.
No,
I don't have any desire.
But it's through Lamont. He's hired by Lamont, not by us.
That's correct. Now, all those things that were pointed out by the code enforcement officer,
Lamont or company.
well, Lamont, or probably in conjunction, well, it's also Lamont that's managing the project, which isn't finished yet, but that'll go on a punch list, and those are things which are covered by the DEP budget to bring them up to code.
Okay, thank you.
No, you're welcome. Anything else on this one? And if we may have a motion to accept the sewer district operators report?
So moved.
One second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Just as an afterthought, DEP was very late in sending us our quarterly, they give us a quarterly check or transfer for the agreed to budget for the year. So here was March, and I'm saying, where's our money for the first quarter? They sent us for the first half, so we might have argued. I only have to chase them twice instead of 4 times a year.
As long as we get it.
Yeah. It's a little hard to shut down and say we're not going to do it anymore.
Worked last time.
Yeah, but now we have 40 people hooked up. It wouldn't be pleasant. Highway superintendent's report.
So back in February, we had several overflowing culverts, mostly because of the ice damming. Because it was a cold month, we had some runoff from the South Mountain. So specifically, we had a pretty bad one on the Durham Road, close to the turnaround up there, close to Greene County. And then we had another one on South Mountain Road. Both of those were kind of going down a resident's driveway, which we were able to mitigate that situation. And of course, they were all on the weekend. There was a repaired culvert on Bolin Road, which we're hoping to get to as soon as we have a thaw and things thaw out, and the water stops running. That was mostly in February. One of our trucks, truck 203, has a big wing plow called a cone plow, and that plow has had worn down past the ability to attach a new cutting edge to it on the bottom. So in other words, the holes where the cutting edge, where the bolts are that the cutting edge is held with, were ground past the bottom of the plow. So that plow actually is no good anymore. So we were all discussing how we were going to go about this, and I was able to call someone I know down in Blooming Grove. And we have Everest plows, and Everest plows are very similar the way they mount. In fact, most of the plows like that are very similar to where they mount on the big trucks. And a friend of mine down in Blooming Grove was able to let us borrow 2 10-co plows that they don't use anymore, very similar design, and we are currently repairing them so that we can put cutting edges on them And both plows are very viable. We can use both of those plows. So that was a big help. And I would like to, I appreciate Wayne Kilpatrick's work and help down in Blooming Grove in Orange County, who let us borrow those plows for the time being. And that is at no cost to the town. So we also have a service truck, which we use to go to job site to job site to job site. Has a diesel tank on the back. It has tools in it that the guys need. That truck needs a gas tank, and we are in the process of getting that fixed because it's a very handy truck. It saves a lot of time when we can use the service truck to go back and forth for fuel, tools, and so on and so forth, instead of pulling like an excavator off the site to stop work and allow this. And we're hopefully going to get this truck back, I think, this week. Local guy's fixing it, and he, I'm hoping that he does a very good job. So the storm on Tuesday and the storm on Saturday stretched our resources a little bit. I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but I do have a man out with COVID since Monday. So he's been out a week. And I know exactly what he's going through, so I just want him to get better. We had our part-timer out. We had our 3 main guys out, and I was out all day on Saturday plowing, and the guys came back out on Sunday to clean up. I think, unless I'm missing something, I think things went mostly pretty well. We jumped on a couple of small roads on Sunday that we weren't unable to get to, including Bluebird Road where I live, frankly. And I think we did a pretty good job Saturday and Sunday on almost 1 foot snowstorm. One of the guys did slip up on the Pangman Road with his truck. Perfectly understandable. It's a very narrow road. We're going to reassess how we're going to do that. Minor damage to the front or to the middle sander on his truck. We got the truck out. He wasn't hurt. Everything is good. The truck is now back at the shop. I would like to recognize Greg Cross, the town supervisor in Prattsville. I'd like to recognize Bill Sutton, the the highway superintendent in Prattsville, and Jim Thorrington, the highway superintendent in Wyndham, who, when I called them, sitting up on Pangman Road with the tow truck, Eagle tow truck.
Gary Thornton.
What did I say?
Jim.
No, Jim is the highway superintendent.
No, he ain't. Gary is.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. Gary is the highway superintendent. And I got on the phone with those guys because the tow truck driver requested that the road be scraped and sanded, and that was all done within an hour. Up on the Pangman Road, which I don't know if you all know what that's like, but it's kind of no man's land up there, right by Stanley Slater. So I'd like to recognize those guys. They really helped us. They really helped us out. And we got the truck back. Eagle Towing was fantastic. And so there were a couple high points, a couple low points. I'm hoping that Sean gets better and that he's hopefully back tomorrow. And I'm sorry, Bobby, you're right. I'm thinking Jim, I'm thinking, Gary. But Gary, they were a great help. I called him. He called the other guy, and they were calling me back in 10 minutes, and the tow truck driver was in my truck, and we had it all set up. And I think this happened around 4:30. By 6 o'clock, the truck was out of the ditch. Wow. So it was really great. And I just, again, want to recognize those guys for the help that they gave me. And we're just doing our best, the best we can with one guy out and 2 full-timers and a part-timer. So.
Yeah, let me just say something though. You said about the high points and the low points. Low points become high points when you react to them, and you really do a good job. So you made a situation that was not good into one that was remarkable.
Yeah, the
so
guy.
You deserve some credit too.
I felt bad for Philip, and was it his fault?
No.
And he was okay. That's all I cared about. And there was some minor damage to the mid-mount sander on his truck, which the guys are actually looking at and cleaning it all up today. They're actually thinking that they can weld on it and fix it. So I think all in all, without trying to blow my own horn, I think we did a pretty good job this past weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, you did. I had one thing. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who it was that had the 1 ton on Saturday. Probably went up and did Goodfellow on top of the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
But then they plowed back down Potter Hollow.
Okay.
you know, so
From Goodfellow?
I'm assuming so. It went down past my house.
Okay.
And they plowed the road. The thing was, it was half plowed road and people were all over the place because everybody was trying to drive on that partially plowed lane. And then when they meet somebody on, and the other people are on their own side of the road, the other person's gotta try to go back in that snow.
This is on Goodfellow?
No, this is on Potter Hollow Mountain
Okay.
Road,
Well,
which you're not supposed to be plowing anyway, so.
I mean, he was probably pushing it down to Potter Mountain
He went, he,
Back to his house.
it went all the way past my house. It wasn't just a little section he did.
All right, so what's the complaint? That he was literally plowing Potter Mountain Road?
Well, what it is, you know, it's been a while since the county's been through to do the road. And there was quite a bit of snow, but then it only got plowed one lane. And it was causing, could have been a situation because everybody that was driving through was trying to drive on the plowed part of
And
the
this is
road.
on Potter Mountain Road.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Which
probably,
they shouldn't be plowing anyway.
probably the guy who was doing like Goodfellow and,
Yeah.
and Pucker, he probably, and I know I feel the same way. You know, if I'm driving down the road, why shouldn't I drop the plow and do something constructive?
Right,
You know, but
exactly, but then you're.
exactly,
You
you're
gotta
doing a
go
road,
back up the hill.
you're doing a road you're not supposed to be doing, and if you, of course, so probably that's what he was thinking. He shouldn't be doing that because if he either damages the vehicle or someone's property on a plow route that we're not responsible for, he probably shouldn't do that. And then it causes that problem.
And the thing was, it was probably a good 3 hours from the time he went through to the county plow went through to clean off the rest of the road. You know, it was a good 3 hours where people were switching lanes.
I know, I noticed the county took a while to get out, but once they
Yeah.
got out, they did it.
They went out in the morning,
Yeah.
and it was quite a while before they went back out
I did
again.
notice that, yeah.
But, you know, there's part of that road was.
Probably he thought, like I thought, if I'm gonna drive this road right now, I should drop my plow and do something constructive.
Yeah.
But I'll, yeah, and
The only
then,
thing I'm saying, you know, I understand that, but if you're gonna plow one side, plow them both.
yeah, I agree, yeah,
Because, of
Especially
course,
on the hill.
all right,
you know,
All right.
everybody's trying to,
yep. It created a problem.
it could
Yeah.
create a major problem being
Okay,
left that long.
okay,
Anything else?
I don't think so.
Anybody else have anything for Bill? All right. Was that a motion to accept? Sure. Okay. Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Carl. Any opposed? Carried. We're gonna insert our historian over here. This is like a last minute thing. Over the weekend, I think it was the weekend, she sent out a really nice letter, and you guys have copies of it, regarding a special project she's going to work on. And I won't say any more because I don't want to take it away from her, so take it to him.
The poster. So one of the things I've decided that I want to do is collect information from residents on more current things because we have a really great foundation for probably the first 200 years of our history, but the past 20 years, a little bit more than that, we're a little bit weaker on. So one of the things I'm going to start with is a COVID project, and I would just invite the community to contribute any photographs, any diaries, any thoughts they have about their own personal experiences with COVID so that we can store it in the town hall for future researchers. It's hard to think about these things in the moment, but as someone who uses primary sources every day in my classroom, I know someday somebody's going to want them, and there are stories out there that need to be told. So they can be dropped off at the office, they can be emailed to me, or we can arrange a time to meet.
Thank you. I think it's a wonderful idea. I wish other towns would do that. And like you had mentioned, the Spanish flu, I mean, we heard about it from our grandparents.
Right.
But there isn't a heck of a lot of local stuff anywhere, not just Conesville.
Right, yeah.
Nobody thought about it.
And I think it's even more important with like the rise of digital media. So many people post everything on social media, but that's not easily printed, and we don't know how long that stuff's going to be around for, honestly. So collecting this kind of stuff for the town to have in its own collection is very important in preserving the history.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we'll call that the historian's report, so I'll take a motion to accept it. Accept it. That was an accepted by Bob. We have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Carl. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right. Supervisor's County Report. Truth is, we're very busy at the county, but there's nothing really super noteworthy that I would share with you, unless you want me to start digging. So, okay.
You want me to kick you under the table?
It's been done. My wife does that to me at a restaurant. She. Okay. All right. I hope she tells me the audio wasn't that good. Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is the January Supervisor's Budget Statement or Financial Report, and you guys have had a copy of it. I sent to you ahead of time. Any comments, questions, motions?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, we have a motion from Kelly.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. All right. We also have our first budget resolution of the year. No, this isn't bad. It's only 2 little transactions for moving some money over. Not new money, it's just putting in a different pocket. So,
Do I have a copy of that?
yeah, I think you do. Look at that. I thought you did.
No, we don't have.
No, I don't have my packet.
All right. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. You have it now.
Oh, okay.
This is regarding some charges in the Mountain Eagle matter.
Oh gosh, what did I do now?
You didn't do anything wrong.
We're asking for our money back.
If you guys don't have any objection, we'll ask for a motion to accept the, it's a resolution.
Roll call.
Roll call vote.
Bill Federici,
Aye.
Carl Fancher,
Aye.
Robert Proudman,
Aye.
Laurel Matthijs, Kelly Smith,
Aye.
It was in the agenda package that I sent you. I know it was thick, and it was snowing out, and people have things to do. Okay. Moving along. The next thing on our agenda is Code Enforcement Officer appointment. We had interviews at the special meeting on February 24th, and we interviewed candidates, as you probably recall. We hired Rich Irwin for 90 days while we did our look through candidates and fill the position. We didn't have enough time to go through the formal process. So obviously, Rich was one of those candidates that we interviewed for a second time, and we had other good candidates too. But the consensus of the board who did the interviews, and that's all it was a consensus, because we have to vote on this in open session, was that we should appoint Rich as permanently, as annual appointment, Rich to the position of Code Enforcement Officer. Anybody want to comment?
Well, I'll make the motion that we hire Rich to fill out this year.
I didn't make it that night, so I
Well,
don't know.
well, you know who he is.
Yeah, I know, Rick.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Moving along pretty good. JCAP grant, that's the Justice Court. I don't know what the A and the P stand for, but it's Justice Court. It's a grant that, as you know, that Judge Jamie went and applied for, and we did pretty well with it. There's a few things we're gonna have to put out for bid. One of them is the floor, not the floor, the painting. That's not in there, but if you're gonna change the floor, paint the walls. We're not gonna change the floor, we're gonna resurface it and put an epoxy coating on it. So I'll be getting quotes on that in the near future. It will not be painless. We're gonna have to move furniture, it's gonna be disruptive. Gonna try and schedule that between board meetings and court days. And I'll tell the board and I'll work with Carrie as well as Jamie as to what works best. But, you know, it's like anything else when you do any kind of remodeling or work around the house. It's disruptive. So that's just an update. I hope to have more for you between now and the next meeting and take it from there. The next thing, oh, I had that twice. Okay. All right. I have a couple of things here since I sent out the agenda to the whole world on Friday, I think it was. Just a couple of things that came up or were there, but we didn't do anything with them. Had anything noteworthy to add to this meeting, but you may one of them is you may recall that Lori suggested, more than suggested, the signs when you come into certain points in Conesville will say, "Welcome to Conesville." They have the Conestoga wagon on them. Really nice. I like them, but they get a little long in the tooth. A couple of them. At least the one over at the entrance, the town line over by Potter Mountain Road, over by Bodeckers, and there's another one on Durham Road at the town line. I didn't know it, but they're made out of plywood. I thought they were metal. They were so, I think they were really well made. They've been there for years, but they're starting to like feather a little bit at the edges, and the Conestoga wagon seal is really faded. There's one on Prattsville Road. There may be some others out there. I didn't really go look that hard, but on Prattsville Road, that one looks like it was put in yesterday, mostly because it's in the shade. It doesn't get a lot of sun, maybe not as much rain. So these two signs needed to be, really need to be replaced. I found out that the original contractor that did that is, I think they're called Catskill Mountain Sign. They're on Route 145 in Durham. He's a nice fellow. I spoke to him, left messages. He said he would do it for $200 a sign, which I don't think is that bad, really. I mean, I bought some signs for the town park that were less complicated than that, and they were less money, but seeing with $200, that's really not that bad. We're gonna have, I think this year, a tough budget year, mostly because of fuel than anything else, really tough. It doesn't get, I imagine you're in the same boat with the school buses. So I really don't want to spend, I wouldn't normally, if they were passable, I'd say let's just wait till next year, but they're not passable. And it is something when somebody comes into town, they see it. Actually, I drive by it so many times I don't even pay attention to it, but other people do. So I don't think that needs we can contain it within the budget, so I don't think we need a motion to do it. But does anybody have any objection to getting those two signs replaced? I think we should. Okay. Just want to bring that up. This was too big to copy and pass around, but what this is here is a proposal from the DEP to Schoharie County to purchase the 114.69 acres in the they call it the Manor Kill Forest. which is over by Damonville, surrounded by, it's landlocked. You can't get into it without going through somebody else's property, but roughly Beaver Hill Road, South Mountain Road, down Cook Road to Durham Road. And they own the land, the county, so they have the right to sell that, but they're not going to do that, not without our okay, because we may not want to sell it to the DEP. We may not want to sell it at all, but at least $1,100, I said $1,500, it's $1,150 an acre, which is maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago was a good price, if we were so, inclined to sell it. But $1,150, I don't know. I'm seeing some of the reports that are coming in from real property with land, even crappy land is selling for. And this has a lot of timber on it too. I mean, Eric told me it was cut about 20 years ago, certain species, but it's back up to where it was. The treasurer too, she thinks it's a bad price.
It's owned by the county at this point.
Yes.
Yes.
The history of that is real quick. I'll bet you know it.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna get 30 seconds here. There was a little hamlet in there called Dingmanville.
Oh, that I know.
And the county got sick and tired of about every other year coming to replace the bridge when it washed out, because that was the only way in, the only way out. So the county bought everybody out. Since sometime in the 1930s, that's been county land. A little bit of history. There was even a school back there somewhere. So the county, I told her I was going to recommend to the board that we not approve it. If the county's not, they're not going to push the issue. But if they did, DEP would always, something like this, they would send over to the town for the board to review and comment on. And if we all agreed, or a majority of us agreed we didn't like the deal, we would tell them that. That doesn't mean the county doesn't want to get rid of it, but maybe we can work with them to maybe put it up for sale to surrounding landowners, something that they'll do something with it, but put it to use rather than DEP. So, and just a real low ball. Or they hired somebody too. I mean, they paid a lot of money. Thurston Cassell and Ryan, real property appraisal consultant. Oh, out of Syracuse. Wonderful. So.
I'd be curious why they're interested in it.
The land?
Yeah, I mean, the county owns it. No, nothing's been done to it.
No, but the county has the option of selling it or doing something to it.
But what does the city want with it?
They want us not to do anything with it.
They're pretty much strapped for cash themselves these days.
Yeah.
It's no wonder they're
I had to
offering.
chase them for my $15,000 a quarter for
No
me.
wonder they're offering you $1,100
Yeah.
for it.
Well, that's true too. All right, that was more point of information. I've got one last thing before asking the board if they have anything they want to bring up. This is the annual agreement for the expenditure of highway monies. We do this every year, and Dave Porter was kind enough to fill this out shortly after Bill took over. And you got it in there. I left it for you. Look in here.
It's in the loose stuff.
It's in the loose stuff, yes. I printed these out this morning. But basically, it's general repairs. The sum of $100,000 should be set aside to be expended for primary work and general repairs upon 37 miles of town highways, including sluices, culverts, bridges, yada, yada. And by the way, that matches the budget. Permanent improvements, no, actually it doesn't match the budget. That's $140,000, and what's in the budget. So I talked to Bill earlier today and said, why don't we make that 140, and it'll tie out to the budget. Now that doesn't include just materials. That also includes our own internal labor towards general repairs, which is what we do during the summer most of the time. So I mean, it's 100,000, but I'd recommend 140. If that's all right with you.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
Just let me do one thing here, since I happen to have the budget here. And the other one is improvement of town highways. Just want to see, maybe mixing it, switching the two around. I'll look at the budget for the year for highway. Okay. Improvements is 150,000, which ties out, okay? But on general repairs, we have $80,000 for personnel and 60 for repairs, actual repairs, which comes out to 140. So that's the number I recommended to Bill. I mean, no one's ever gonna say, you came in at 132, what's going, or you came in at 144, as long as we swizzled the money somehow. But I think it's good to put that target in there. And that includes your guys' work, their time. So, and this is what we do every year. I think I'm told this is something that we're supposed to do. And I can't say what the reason is for it, because I haven't been told, but we're supposed to do this. Any comments? So 140 is good?
160, you got a deal.
What did I say my father used to say? Good with that?
Yeah.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right, so we need a motion to accept the proposed 2022 agreement for the expenditure of highway monies at what we just discussed. And we each have to sign it. I don't make those rules.
Let's do a roll call on it.
You want to do a roll call? We'll do a roll call, all right.
The form looks like it's asking for a roll call.
It does? Whatever. Roll call.
Bill Federici,
Aye.
Carl Fancher,
Aye.
Robert Crowden,
Aye.
Roma Tice,
Looks like they want to.
Kelly Smith,
Yeah,
You guys gonna sign?
all signed the same.
Yeah, that's what I'm giving to you. We've done this before, we do it every year. That's the extent of what I had for tonight. Folks have anything?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Then we will entertain a motion to review the invoices.
I'll make a motion to do that.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? So, for those of you who are they're already dropping off. For all those of you who are watching, you can watch us look at the bills, but the only other piece of business we're going to conduct after that is to accept the abstract and to adjourn.